Okay, a very good afternoon, everyone. It's the end of week number 8 here at Sodokran Court for this ongoing trial of former Minister of Petroleum, Diezani Allison-Madueke, our brother Bishop Joye Agama, and defendant number 3, Olatimbo Anyide. There's been another twist yesterday. I told you that if you remember earlier in the week on Tuesday, when the jury didn't sit on Monday, rather, I said that rather on Friday, let me just take it back to last Friday, when the jury was sent home and the court was supposed to resume on Wednesday. But as it turned out, the judge then said last Friday that there was a matter of law which needed to be considered Monday and Tuesday, and that the jury was not needed until Wednesday of this week. And I said that the court was sitting, but as the judge had said, there was a matter of the law to be considered. So that was why the jury wasn't needed until Wednesday. But on Tuesday, part of that process of behind the scenes, when there's legal argument, again, I cannot report on that because there was no jury on seat, but there was legal argument in court on Tuesday. And because of that, instead of the jury coming back on Wednesday, the jury was postponed until yesterday. And yesterday I reported from here that there was yet another twist. When the jury came in, the judge said there was a development. Okay, I know what the development is, but we are not allowed to report on that. So the jury was sent home early yesterday, hoping that today they probably will be back. Though the judge didn't say specifically yesterday that they were going to come back today, but there was a sort of understanding that we were hoping that today there was going to be a sitting. But when I came in this morning here, hoping that we were going to start at 9:30, 9:45, when I was there, the courtroom was empty. There was nobody in the courtroom. On making inquiries from the listing office, it turned out that, there was no sitting. What was listed, apart from that, on the listing, there was no listing. The case, courtroom number 2, nothing was showing in front of the electronic display in front of the court. On going to the department to make inquiry, all that was written there was that court not sitting. So today, there was no sitting. And I've just spoken to the court. Court is not back for this trial until Wednesday. So today, Monday, Tuesday, there is no trial. Of course, there could be argument in the background, point of law to be considered, but before you can hear anything which is being said, that has to be Wednesday. That is when the jury will be back. So that is where we are. That is where we are with the trial. Like one observer mentioned to me off camera, who saw what was happening and said, "This is unsettling. This is unsettling for all those concerned," and that includes the jury. Because, imagine yesterday they will have come here thinking they were coming for a full day at work, but, within an hour of coming in, the judge said, "Ladies and gentlemen, sorry, there's a point, there's a matter, a development. Your services are not needed today, so go home and put your feet up." An early weekend, and they're probably hoping they'll be back today or Monday, but now the case is not listed again until Wednesday. So that's where we have, as I said a couple of weeks back and repeated, that this marathon case, there is going to be twists and turns, and it's playing out just like that. So until Wednesday, before the jury is back, if anything happens before then, if there's anything, if for any reason they are called in before that, I'll definitely let you know. But for now, the case is not listed Monday or Tuesday. It is on Wednesday, which will be midweek into week number 9 before this trial gets back on the way. So this is the end of week number 8. No sitting today. Came to courtroom was under lock and key, went to the listing office. He said their court not sitting. That is all that was written on the hard copy of the paper. On the electronic display, he said the case was not listed. So, but further inquiries has shown that, there is no sitting until Wednesday. And so that's where we are. And the jurors, they are home. The court might be on, but on Monday or Tuesday. But if they are not in court, we are not allowed to say what is happening. And even again, I have a clue as to why the court did not sit today and why it's not going to sit until Wednesday, but we are not allowed to mention it because of legal restrictions, because the jury is not part of the conversation, so we are not allowed to say anything. So until Wednesday, when the jury returns, that is the latest twist, in this trial, this marathon trial, that is potentially, initially, is been scheduled to finish last week of April, but we've had a couple of twists and turns, postponement, adjournment, like we've had this week. So this week, the court has only been here for just one day. Yesterday, less than an hour before the judge sent the jurors on, and today the court room number 2 was under lock and key. No sitting on Monday, no sitting on Tuesday until Wednesday again. So that's where we are. And like one observer said, that this is unsettling. The jurors themselves, they have a life. They probably will have thought we were coming to work yesterday. Nothing. Probably they will have thought we are going to work today, but nothing again. But, they can't complain. Monday, Tuesday, they're not supposed to, they won't be here, and ordinarily, when you're taking up the jury service, you will have taken time from your office to say, okay, I'm going to be away for this so time. So they themselves, they're having, unplanned holiday. So those are the things which happen, which I mentioned a couple of weeks back, that in a marathon, you have twists and turns. And that is how it is panning out here during this trial that is scheduled to end April 24, the week of April 24. We do not know what is going to happen, whether it's going to go to the wire, whether it's going to end then or not. But as we've seen, we've lost court days. We've lost today, although these should have been built into the case. But we've lost today. Yesterday, the court didn't sit for up to an hour. Wednesday, there was no sitting. There was the jury didn't come back. Monday of next week, beginning of week 9, second day of week 9, there will be no sitting. Of course, point of law might be argued again between those 2 days, but until Wednesday, before the jury is back. So that is when this case will continue. So for the defendants themselves, the 3 defendant number 1, which of course is the former Minister of Petroleum, Allison-Madueke, defendant number 2, a brother, and Olatimbo Anyide, all of them too will have had these disruptions. So this is a case that has been ongoing investigation for over 10 years. And still the prosecution, they still cannot get the act together. We're having this disruption. So, but that's where we have, that is the twist and turns. One will have thought that after over 10 years of investigation, they will have had a watertight case. They will have covered the bases, but we are getting these twists and turns. But that's where we are. There's nothing we can do. We just have to wait until Wednesday and see how it pans out when the jury is back. Until then, I'll see you then. So no sitting today, no sitting on Monday, no sitting on Tuesday. Wednesday, when we come back, when the open court comes back, of course, I'll be here Monday and Tuesday to see the inside work that is going on, but we wouldn't be able to report it because the jury is not back until Wednesday. The case is not listed until Wednesday. I've just spoken to the list office and said Wednesday before this case resumes. So until then, I'll keep you posted.